On the workbench today, we have the Team Associated MT8, and we're going to be fixing what I believe is the only real issue, only real problem with this truck, which is those rear control arms, those rear upper control arms and the metal that's in them. We're going to do it very simply. We got the REDCAT fixed parts. So REDCAT had this issue. They already fixed it, RER 15206. We're going to be doing that, but that's not all. The other issue is how that rear suspension is limited down here, and so we're going to be using some fuel tubing in order to help limit the shock travel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy and this is Roadside RC. What you'll tend to find is me bashing and crawling and drifting and racing, plus some product review videos and how-tos. And today we've been driving this MT8, and I'll be honest, it's a really solid truck. Great power plant in it, solid chassis, durable everywhere except for these upper rear control arms, and so we are going to be fixing that. Let's get started by getting the body off and swapping out the control arms. This is actually quite an easy job. All we have to do is take our 2mm plus a wrench, take this end off. On the other side, there's a 2mm right here that just holds a pin in. I typically will take this out all and just push it through. I know how to do this now, as it turns out. I feel like I'm an expert because I've replaced these on my REDCAT Kaiju, exact same process, and I've already replaced 3 of them on this truck. And as I'm getting ready to do it, I didn't know that this was the case, but if you look at it here, this one's actually bent. So probably next couple of jumps, this would have been the 4th one that we broke on this truck. Yeah, that one clearly just about to break. If you look at that versus that REDCAT part, clearly has a bend in it. Now you'll say, this is the first thing I looked at when I first got this MT8, is I was so excited by how big these were. I was like, oh great. They've definitely put a stronger, turnbuckle in here compared to what REDCAT previously had, but it's all in the metallurgy, man. It's all in what those things are made out of. And so what we found with the old REDCAT one was that some of them were strong, some of them were weak. It just depends on what the factory made the parts with. Once they fixed that with these stronger parts, all is great. Yep, Team Associated just using the wrong material in there. So these just slide right back on exactly in the place of the old ones, and it looks like even length is right and everything. Yeah, just like that, nothing to it, literally right back on, works perfect. So we're gonna transition over to part 2 of this. Screw at the top, screw at the bottom. Heck, actually, you probably don't even need to do the screw. One screw down here, whole shock's gonna come out. We're gonna take the spring perch off, probably have to unscrew the rod end. As you do this, please use a set of shock pliers. They're really cheap. I'll put a link to these that I use or some other ones down below in the comments. They're worth every penny. If you're in the RC hobby, you're going to be rebuilding shocks. You don't want to scrape up your shock shafts. And man, these things really do come in handy. And then we're going to cut basically something like 10mm off this hose and stick it right here in the bottom top of the spring perch to limit how much this whole shock can travel upwards. Because again, I came in pretty much 10mm, something like that. This isn't rocket science. All you're really looking is for something that clearly goes over the shock shaft. You don't want anything that sticks or provides any dampening there. And on the bottom side, something that easily fits within the shock perch so that you're not binding on the side, you're not anything like that. So all we do then is take this, slide it on, put the rod end, reassemble the shock back, put it on. That's it. That's all it takes. See, what we have here is we have a situation where this can travel so far up, and what it ends up doing is it puts the drive shaft and this top control arm in a bind, and that's where I believe a lot of this damage comes from. And here we are, you can see just like that. It's going to come up and it's going to compress, and it's going to actually just not let that whole shock, the whole corner compress as much as it otherwise would, and it has a little bit of give with that rubber in there. Now I will say, when I did this with the REDCAT, I did not use this I don't know, like more hydraulic-y kind of hose with the reinforcement in there. This is more of a high pressure hose. I think I just used maybe like a fuel line vacuum tubing. It doesn't have that reinforcement in there, so it's going to be squishier. probably is a better choice than this, but I'm just using whatever it is that I have laying around. So I'm kind of making do with what I have today. If you are buying some, I would probably just get the vacuum line itself. We've got the new control arms, we've got the rubber installed, it should be in good shape. I'm going to throw a battery in this, take it out to the backyard ramp, and let's really give it a bash. Let's see if we can break them. We're going to actually try. We're going to be doing big jumps, we're going to be doing backflips, and we're going to see, does it break or does it not? That right there, that ends the day. I let my 8-year-old drive it, and he had that nasty from the air, hit the brake too hard, nosedive, and it hit right on that corner. Took that control arm out. The good news is it didn't actually, it's interesting, whatever plastic they're using here, it didn't shear the whole thing off. It actually just broke it out and it's flexed in there. So we didn't lose any parts, and the only reason why I recognized it was broken is because it flexed enough for the drive shaft to pop out. But the really good news, nasty, big backflips, all that stuff. REDCAT control arms, upper control arms are working fine. Shock stops are helping, and we are in good shape. I think we have this thing licked. If you have the MT8, I do highly recommend grab those upgraded REDCAT control arms, put a little rubber, about 10 millimeters rubber stopper in the bottom, bash on and have fun.